Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yes, we have somebody who can play the drum, so we can use this one also. Thank you so much. So, let's continue where we stopped. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You're doing really great. It sounds nice. Thank you. So I'm thinking I'm going to change the melody a little bit. So show you what we can, other things we can do with the kirtan. All right? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. A nice thing with this particular chanting is that it's the easiest and most powerful way to connect with sound yoga to the divine couple, Radha Krishna, to the spiritual dimension. And it's very simple, and there are no particular rules or regulations. One can chant this within your mind, within your heart, verbally, wherever you are, wherever you go, no restrictions. It's good. We can just learn the mantra, and then it's available whenever we want it, need it. Yeah. All right. So with this, I would speak a few words to you all tonight. Many people nowadays ask themselves the question, what am I doing here? Right? What's the meaning of life? And particularly younger adults, because like my parents, they are both gone now, but they grew up during the Second World War. And in the years following, where this body was born, for example, the main focus was to rebuild society, to create, material prosperity and comforts. So we developed, again, industries and technology and all these things. But then the young adults of today, they never were confronted with the side effects of the World War. They were already born into and have everything, the internet and the mobile phone and the television and all these things, computer games and stuff. So they don't have this focus anymore to build up material wealth, really, so much. It's more about, finding a purpose. They made some surveys, and so many young adults want to find a purpose with existence and try to make the world a better place. So they ask this question, what am I doing here, really? So I'm going to speak a little bit about that. We are basically here because of an identity crisis. We don't know why we are here, and we don't know who we are, really. Who am I? And the difficulty by not knowing who you are is you don't know what actually makes you happy. As simple as that. Because everybody wants happiness, right? Nobody wants to be unhappy in this world. It's actually in the old scriptures, the old Vedas, it's actually stated Ananda Maya Bhyasat. Everybody is looking for pleasure, for happiness, right? In one way or the other. And depending on who we think we are looking for happiness in that direction. So many people, or most of us, I would say, they identify with this body. We are like, I am a man, I am Swedish, I am Indian, I am a woman, I am, German or whatever. And then we are looking for happiness, going in that direction. I think that happiness is what brings pleasure to my body. I want to see nice things, I want to hear nice things, I want to feel nice things and taste and smell. So we are basing our conception of happiness on what we can experience with our senses, like that. However, there are higher types of happiness too. If you ever fell in love once, then you feel some kind of internal joy and happiness and bliss coming from the object of your love, your girlfriend or boyfriend or even children or some pet, cat or dog or whatever you feel love and affection for. So then it becomes a little bit more subtle. So based on who we think we are, we imagine what will make us happy and what we should do to become happy. For example, it's very common nowadays that we want to work hard to get a paycheck, and then we will, of course, pay the rent and the food, but then whatever is left over, we want to use for pleasure, for entertainment, to, go into the cinemas or buying fancy clothes or makeup or whatever like this. So this world where we are identifying with something material, really, because this body is matter. It's, flesh and blood, mucus, bone, and, it's like a kind of a machine, in a sense, made of biological matter, and we identify with that body. However, it's very easy to understand that it must be something else, because what makes the body move, think, feel? Is it the body that falls in love, or is it the arm or the head, or what is it? If I cut off an arm or two arms, or do I become less myself? Or when I eat, I stuff my belly, do I become more of myself? Or if I go to the bathroom, do I become less? I leave part of me in the water closet. It's not part of me. I wouldn't. That's very derogatory. So, similarly, what we learned from this old wisdom is that the body is material, but the person navigating or driving it is not material. Just like you jump in the car, and the car is pretty useless if there's no driver. It just takes up space here, and you have to pay parking, otherwise you get a ticket. But once there's a driver behind the wheel, then things happen. You can go here and there and like this with the car. So what we learn from the scriptures is that this body is material, is something temporary, because it actually started to exist at one point when you were born. You have this small body. It's actually started earlier inside the body of your mother. But then it will last for a number of years. And then when it gets old, worn out, or maybe before that it gets broken or terminally ill, it will stop working. And nobody wants to try to drive an old junk car that doesn't start properly. So then the body dies. So what we can learn from the book, like for the Bhagavad Gita, for example, is a very good science book of yoga. It tells us that there are, first of all, matter. It says, Bhumir apo analeo vayo kam manobuddhirevacha ahankara ityame bina prakriti ashtada. That you have gross matter, that means solid matter, liquid matter, gas matter, etc. And you have subtle matter, the mind, the intelligence, and then something called false ego or ahankara. And now we're getting into the identity crisis here. Because we are not matter. We are conscious. Matter is not conscious. You can do whatever you want with matter. It doesn't fight back, or, matter is matter. But then there's consciousness. And what's stated in the Bhagavad Gita is aparayam itastvanyam prakritim vidime param jiva bhutam mahabaho yayedam daryate jagat. That apart from this lower or gross matter, there is a higher and subtler energy of which the living being belongs. So we are actually spiritual beings. When the body is born, we are not born. And when the body dies, we don't die. This is what we learn already in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. So we misidentify with the material body, and the thing that makes us do that is called ahankara, the false ego. Aham means me, and kara means the doer. I think I'm the one that does everything. But if you go in a car and you drive from Malmö to Lund 120 kilometers per hour, you're not doing that. You just sit there pressing a little pedal and the car is doing all the work, right? So I'm not racing my harm. I just wish to race it, and it's done with this material machine. It's kind of fascinating, right? So the false ego is the most subtle of coverings, because thinking that you are something which you are not, that's kind of illusory. So the most subtle form of this illusion is the identification of the material body. And Bhagavad Gita says, Prakriti kriyamanani. That is the material energy who does things. Gunai karmani sarvasha. Guna means the qualities of the matter. That is ignorance, passion, or goodness. Different levels of material influence. So it's actually the material nature that does everything. The material nature is the one that moves the wind, that make the sunshine, and everything that goes on in this world, in nature, is done by this energy. And then ahankara ityame kartaham ityam, ahankara vimudatma. If you are not enlightened, so to say, vimuda means something else. It means big donkey. If you're ignorant, you think that I'm doing everything. It's up to me, etc. to do. Kartaham iti manyate. While the material nature is the one that does everything. So the material nature forces us to act, in a sense. And under this spell, it's like a spell, if you saw Harry Potter, you know what a spell means. Incantatus. So this is what happens, material nature, and then you're under illusion. Yes, I'm a Swedish person, I'm a man, I'm so old and doing this and that, and then forgetting about your true spiritual self. That's a spell. So, in the Bhagavad Gita it says, the yantra, it says, Ishvara sarvabhutanam, hridayasya yunatishtati. Brahmayan sarvabhutani, yantra rudani, maya. Yantra means machine, situated in a machine, maya, made of material energy. So, I know this is an old movie, but how many of you saw the Avatar movie when it came? You didn't see Avatar, no? You're probably too young. It was from 15 years and something.
Oh, 50 years.
15 years, you have to, yeah. So they had this machine, big robot, like a transformer, huge thing. And the guy was sitting inside the head and maneuvering and this. So I came to think about this description from the Bhagavad Gita. We are sitting in the heart of this material body and acting out, navigating through life like this. So the first thing we learn from the Bhagavad Gita is that we are not these bodies. We are driving them. And when the body is finished, it dies, but you don't. You go through something called the cycle of birth or death, or in Sanskrit it's called samsara. The cycle reincarnation. You heard the word reincarnation, right? Yes. So it's composed of 3 parts. Re means again, like recreation and relax, and and in means inside, re-in. And carnation, carne, chili con carne or chili sin carne, if you're a vegetarian. So again in the flesh, again in the meat. So again and again, puna punar, you take another birth in another body. And it is explained in the Bhagavad Gita, what kind of body will you get in your next life? You already prepare it inside your head, because it's a body that will correspond to your wishes and desire, your personality, like that. Yeah? And if you have a pure spiritual consciousness, not interested in anything material, then you will unite yoga with the divine after death. Yeah? You will be united with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So this whole existence, we wonder, why am I here? Well, you're here to go in the school of life. It's a school of hard knocks. And right now we're in the middle of one term, like this. Like in a school, you start from kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third. And every time you start, you learn something more, you become more and more advanced. That's how it's supposed to be. We know from experience that if you don't do very well, you may have to take the same grade again, or you may even be degraded and start the lower grade. That happened to some of my friends, almost happened to me in a way. No, not really. But so you start from one level in one life maybe, and then in the next life you start from a higher level depending on how you interacted with existence in this life, like this. And as in any school, they have this rules of conduct. You're not supposed to, do this, or you have to be respectful to the teacher and treat your fellow students nicely, do your homework, come to class. Like we've all been traumatized like that, right? So this world has their set of rules. It's called the path of righteousness, because since time immemorial, there's been a battle between the good and the evil in this world. In the spiritual dimension, in the spiritual world, there is no evil. There's only good, obviously. But because we have conflict of interest and we have identity crisis, some people may identify of being quite bad or evil and enjoy being evil like this. So this set of rules in this world is sometimes called laws of nature. Anyone knows a law of nature? Yeah? I'll give you a hint. This is one law of nature. What's that called? I can have a big stone and drop it on my foot, but I wouldn't do that.
Gravitation.
Thank you. Law of gravitation.
I call it relative density. I don't believe in that globe stuff.
Okay, let's talk afterwards. So the law of attraction, physical objects, you can measure that, are attracted. It's called the law of gravitation. And there's a physical law called conservation of energy, saying that you cannot create energy, you cannot destroy energy, but you can transform it from one way to the other, like this. There are the different laws of thermodynamics, Pascal's law and others, those who studied. You have Newton's law of mechanics. For each force, there is another force in the other direction. And you have also different laws about electromagnetic force. There's a large number of laws which are made in a particular way. There are psychological laws also, laws of cause and effect in social interaction. The law of homeostasis means that the mind tries to end up in an equilibrium, in balance. The law of cognitive dissonance, meaning that every person wants to see himself as a good person. So if he does something bad, or she, then try to find some excuse or reason why they did something bad. Classical example in psychology is the big soldier in, let's say, in Vietnam, or who is killing a single mother with a child, and then they have to degrade this person, that this is the pest of the planet, the yellow plague, or whatever they do. So I'm actually doing, just like, let's say somebody from Hamas or Hezbollah wants to kill a Jew or something, and say, yeah, this is a good thing because Jews are really, or vice versa. I'm not making a standpoint here. People can have their own opinions. But they have to rationalize, because I want to feel I'm good. So if I do something harm, it's because you deserve it, and I did the right thing to give it to you. That's called the law of cognitive dissonance. So if you do something very bad and you can't find an excuse, then you feel ashamed of yourself like this, which is actually good sometimes. And of course you have Maslow's hierarchy of needs, starting with the physical needs, psychological needs, and what you need to eat and drink, and etc. And then you have spiritual laws also about what's best for you as a spiritual being. It's not good to identify with the body, for example, like that. So these laws that apart from the physical laws, if you look at the psychological and spiritual laws, in Sanskrit they are called dharma. Dharma means laws of righteousness, doing the right thing. If you follow dharma, you will evolve your consciousness and become a good person. You may even be a good person, let's say 90%, but then you follow dharma more, then you become 95% good, and maybe finally you become 100% good. So this is the purpose why we are here. We are here to develop goodness, and ultimately pure goodness, and ultimately pure love for God and for everything that has to do with God, right? So this could be a very long education, but one can also, like Prabhupada used to say, you can become the honorary professor. Sometimes you become a professor at university after many, many lives. They give you, now you have the title professor, but you can also give somebody a diploma without going through the whole university, who did something really extraordinary. So what Krishna also gives in the Bhagavad Gita is the possibility to get the honorary professorship, and that's through chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, which is the shortcut. because it directly plugs into the soul and to the connection to the divine. Following Dharma is very good. People should do that. It's a gradual process. And if you develop a pure heart from chanting Hare Krishna, the shortcut, you automatically follow the Dharma too. So Dharma is the way to elevate your consciousness. And this is the really quick and powerful way to do it, recommended specifically in this day and age, where people initially at least may have a big problem following laws, spiritual, ethical, moral laws. So, as you can understand, if you see a picture, this picture didn't come by itself. Somebody took some paint and stuff and threw it there, and then there is an artist behind this picture who is present somewhere in this place today. Her name is Emma. She made this picture. And similarly, if you look in nature, all the beautiful trees and flowers and plants and animals, you can see there's a great artwork. And it has to be some artist. There has to be a lawmaker. Somebody makes the laws and regulations that govern this existence. This is the second part of today's class. Elevation of consciousness and the laws of existence. So there is a person called Dharmaraj, the master of Dharma, master of ethical and moral righteousness principles. Another name is Yamaraj. And it is said in the scripture that this is the person, if we come from the Judeo-Christian tradition, you say you meet with Saint Peter when you die, so to speak, you die, but when the body dies, and say, have you been a good person? A little bit like Santa Claus, have you eaten your spinach and helped old lady cross the street? And good, yeah, you can go to heaven, and you can sit there and grow wings and play the harp or get bored. Anyway, there's something else. Dharmaraj, he once said, I think it was in Mahabharata, another scripture, he said, Dharmam tu sakshad bhagavat pranitam. Dharma means the universal psychological spiritual principles. They are directly sakshad bhagavat, the Lord, pranitam, established. So God is the establisher of the rules. And you find that in other religious traditions, like in Christianity, Moses went up the Mount Sinai and he came back with some laws. Thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill, you should honor thy mother and thy father, etc. Frankly speaking, most of these rules, they don't really have directly so much to do with love of God, love of everything. It has more to do to become a person, a good person, where you are more receptive for the love of God, right? So the Lord is the lawmaker. And following those rules of conduct, you will make it through the school of life, or school of hard knocks, if you want that, depend on much problem. When you go through the cycle of reincarnations. And you can also make progress already in this lifetime, because everything is based on free will. Free will is why we are here too. We choose once, whenever it happened, to think that, well, God is the center of everything, but why cannot I be the center of everything, Maybe I want to enjoy like God, And then we didn't understand the simple fact that if you water the root of a tree, then the whole tree becomes nourishful. So if you serve God, everyone becomes pleased and happy, including yourself. Because when God is pleased, you automatically becomes pleased. But because of free will, we thought maybe I should be rich and beautiful and strong and have a lot of knowledge. And so we are attracted to all these things and we want to get them. If I get a lot of money, then I can buy so much happiness and people will be, respecting me more. And, so we fall into illusion because we are very small. Because of free will. And the idea with free will is that real love is based on free will. Real love, right? If I take a gun and say, okay, love me, Oh yeah, yes. What should I do? What do you want? That's not. Or I pay you $10,000. Love me. That's not love. That's conditional love. You have some idea in your head that you can buy. Even the Beatles used to say, "Can't buy me love," right? It's an old song. Probably not heard it. So, but there has to be free will. If I choose, yes, I love you, I'm totally attracted to you. I don't know why, I don't have an agenda, not that you're very famous. So if I love you and I get together with you, then I will also be on the red carpet and, all the paparazzis will come and I'm with her, she's famous. No agenda. I don't want your money. I don't want your fame. I don't want your anything. I just want to serve you. I want to please you. I want to see you happy. I want to do something. I want to buy you your favorite pizza. Because when I see this sparkling in your eye and the smile in your face, then, yes. So this is the secret between love, and that takes free will. If there weren't free will, then I would be a robot. And God would just, pull the strings. I want you to love me, so I pull here. No, God doesn't work like that. He just wants us voluntarily, out of free will, to fall into His arms, to surrender to God. That's the whole idea. So, the other side of the spectrum, if we start from scratch, if we're really unlucky, we could fall so deep into illusion, into this existence, that we actually start to hate God. We hate religion. We hate morals and ethics. We work consciously to fight it. We want to kill the good people. We want to destroy everything. So that's the bottom line. This is the real evil. These are the people who infiltrate religious organizations, for example, and commit heavy crimes towards children and women and everything else. Because they're very smart in a sense, because if you're a real demon, if you're a real evil-minded person, what better place to hide is than in a church or in a religion? And you can dress like this, and you can speak like this, and you can just destroy it from inside. And this is happening all over the world today. The real demons are, joining the American Boy Scouts or whatever, working their way up in the ranks until they become leaders, and then they recruit similar friends, and they ruin it all. They make money of other people's suffering. They enjoy other people's suffering, other living entities. They destroy the planet. So this is described, it's called Ugra karma. You know karma? That means action and reaction. Ugra means terrible action. They're actually the people who actively ruin and destroy this planet. Yeah. They make sure that there are some wars going on in the world, and they try to make them worse, because then they can sell a lot of weapons. And then when everything is in ruins, they can come there and build up everything and make more money out of people suffering. This is going on in the world today. Yeah, that's Ugra karma. And that's the first level of consciousness. And these people are highly aggressive, highly consumers, completely obsessed with technology, destructive technology. So they have excessive material ambitions, then are harming the environment, harming others, letting out all these chemicals that kills everybody, destroy the jungle, everything. And they have this intense pursuit of economic growth. They want to make money. Like, I think it's like 1 or 2% of all the wealth in the world, 1 or 2% of the people of the world owns like 50% of the wealth today. This is the result of this mentality, the Ugra karma, the destructive. So that's 1 out of 3 kinds of materialists. They're the lowest on the scale of spiritual consciousness. Actually have no spiritual consciousness. These are the people who wants to freeze their head so they can, they think they can defrost it 2,000 years from now and live forever. They have all these crazy ideas, thinking they're the body. Then you have something which we could call immoral materialists. And immoral means they're not actively fighting against, but they don't care about Dharma. 10 commandments or Dharma and They find it in Buddhism or in Hinduism or whatever. We don't care. I do whatever I want. And it could be something good, it could be something bad, but it's just what I want. I don't care about Dharma. I don't work against it, but I don't care about it. Yeah? So these are very self-centered individuals. They want to do everything just to please themselves, focused on personal gain, and they don't really concern for others or their well-being as long as, they can engage in self-serving activities, and often at the expense of others and the well-being of the planet. And then you have the third kind of materialist, which is actually called ethical materialist. You can be a good person, but you don't care about God. You don't care about relationship with God. You don't care about that God is the one that makes the rules. You fully understand what is Dharma, just like the destructive materialist. They know exactly what is the Dharma, and they want to crush it and destroy it. So the ethical materialist, they also know Dharma, what one needs to do to be a good person and, feed the poor and, use recycled toilet paper, whatever they do. But God, no, it's nothing to do. But at least they're good people, They're ethical. So they feel morally responsible, but not spiritual, not religious. Oh my God. They follow ethical guidelines for personal gain or for approval by society. Today it's very, very approved to be, environmentalist or something like that. But they don't have any connection with deeper spiritual values. So they perform their duties responsibly, but they're still motivated by personal success and recognition. So these were the three kinds of materialists, or we can also call them atheists if we want. The destructive, the ignorant, and the ethical one. Yeah? So we may recognize maybe ourselves or some of our friends or whatever in that spectrum. But then comes a very interesting borderline. All of a sudden we are talking about theists, those who recognize that there has to be a higher intelligence behind this world. There has to be some higher power, maybe even a higher person that recognize the existence of God in some way, shape, or form. Then they become theists. And then it gets really interested. The ethical materialism, he doesn't really believe in God, but he's a good person. They follow something which in the Veda is called karma kanda. They do honest work to be able to enjoy the results. I do my duty at work, I don't skip school, and then I get the results, fine grades, paycheck, or whatever. So this is a minimum what is required for a society to be civilized, is that at least people, they follow Dharma, even if they don't believe in God. But they do their duties. They fill their function in society. But then when you pass that magical border, you start to do something called karma yoga. That means that you recognize God exists, and part of the fruits of my labor, I should offer back to God, give it back. Then you're a theist and becomes partly selfless. Just like you go to church and then go there and make collections and you put 100 crowns or 50 crowns. That's a karma yogi. Yoga is actually a funny word. It means to connect. And religion, then you have again means again. Ligio, ligare, ligatur. You connect, you reconnect. So the words religion and yoga are actually synonymous. And to have religion, to have yoga, you have to have something that you reconnect to. If it's just one-handed, I can't do yoga. If I want to establish a connection or a relationship with somebody, I have to learn. First, I have to admit you exist. You as another person. So then I have to work in that direction. So that's the difference between an atheist or a theist. Is somebody who recognizes the existence of God, some kind of higher person or higher power. And they can be altruist and humanitarian. They do service to God's creation. They perform actions for the well-being of others and the environment, and they are detached from personal reward. I just do the service because what I said before, you water the root and you feel good about it. You help out to give food to the poor, and maybe you run a shelter for the homeless, or whatever you do. And you don't demand that everybody should praise you. Oh, you're such a good altruist, and oh, you gave so much, and want to end up on the newspaper first page. No, you're just happy with what you do. Self-fulfilling service right then. So you live a life of service, seeking to benefit others and society, and often with a focus of fairness and justice, and recognizing that behind everything is the hand of God. Right? Even higher, you want to know more about God, know more about His existence. Then you become a jnana yogi. Jnana means knowledge. I need to figure out, if I want to have a loving relationship, sorry, you're just sitting here, so I use your example. You know, maybe she likes pizza. Okay, so I go there and buy a capricciosa with ham and stuff, and I knock on your door, here's a pizza. Oh, nice, you came with pizza. But, you know, I'm vegetarian, I don't eat meat, you know. So I should have asked you before, what would please you? And then you say, well, I like margherita with extra mozzarella. Okay, next time I know, because Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, he doesn't say anything about he wants to have meat, fish, or eggs or something, because you actually cause suffering to other living beings by cooking and eating that. You cause less suffering by eating vegetables or fruits and, you know, flowers and stuff. So if you do that, cooking is actually a wonderful way to show love and affection to another person. You find out, oh, you like spinach. Nice, I know to cook spinach for you. And then I make apple pie with vanilla sauce. And then I come, you know, here, I brought some lunch. Oh, it's my favorite. Nice. It brings you closer to the object of your love. That's the idea behind service. If you love somebody, you show it by service. If you're a loving mother, you serve your baby, change the diapers, give the formula or breastfeed or clean your home or whatever, and your husband, you can help with that too, everything without except breastfeeding. Maybe somebody is able to do that nowadays, I don't know. But they have the different roles and functions in a household as a token of love for the rest of the family members, you know. So you meet on Sunday, we have a nice dinner together, and everybody's happy. Oh, you cooked my favorite dessert. Oh, I love you so much, yeah. So this is jnana, you know more. You know about existence, you know about God, you know more how to serve and please and show your affection or interest. So you seek knowledge about life and the self, because you're actually part of God, small little spark. So by learning about God, you also learn about yourself. You try to understand existence from a rational, philosophical standpoint. And you lead an introspective and disciplined lifestyle focused on gaining insight into the nature of reality and the self, like that. And once you got this knowledge, now you have something to meditate upon. You know how God looks like, as many different forms. So you can start meditate about that. You know what pleases God, like chanting the names. Then you start meditating on the names. You meditate on decorating on the altar. You do so many things. That's called dhyana yoga. You connect, even if you're not here in the room, I can still think about you and prepare. Next time I meet her, I will write a poem and I will give her a favorite chocolate, or, you know. That's dhyana yoga. That's even higher than knowledge, right? It's applied knowledge. So this is a mindful practitioner, it's called. You have deep meditation and focus on inner peace and mindfulness and the satisfaction of the object of your love. And you seek to connect with a higher sense of purpose. Also disciplined lifestyle, meditation, mental control, self-regulation. Because now we don't want to be distracted. You want to think about the object of your love 24/7. You're not interested in all this, you know, whatever, you know, European Song Contest, or I just took it as an example, you know, tabloids. So that's the meditation. And then comes the highest grade of yoga. Krishna says, yoginam api sarvesham. The best of yogis is he or she that meditates upon me with love. So then love comes. I'm not talking about temporary love, that what you can feel for a person who is in a temporary form with a temporary label for X number of years. You are talking about the eternal love, the eternal attraction to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that's dormant in your heart and just needs to be reawakened. So this is actually, I don't know when I'm supposed to stop here, but this is a description of the elevation of consciousness from, I don't think anyone in this room has anything to do with horrible karma. I want to destroy everything good and moral and ethic in the world. Maybe we've been there many, many thousands, millions of lifetimes ago. I don't know. But I wanted to start from scratch, as low as you can sink, being a resident of hell, up until you be a resident of the transcendental kingdom of the Supreme Lord, with your heart completely purified from any selfish motives and filled with love and ecstatic bliss, which is your true identity. Then there's no more identity crisis anymore, because in the scriptures it's stated that Jivara Svarup Hoy, Jiva means the living being, the little spark from the big fire, your little spark. Your eternal function is to be the loving servant of God. And the interesting thing is that God becomes the loving servant of you, because it works both ways. You just have a desire to serve God, He will fulfill that. And by the way, He fills your heart with transcendental pleasure as well. So this is the path to graduate from the school of life. And we can do that very, very fast, simply by chanting and learning more, becoming a person full of righteousness, goodness, have compassion to all other living beings, all other people, not being judgmental, just seeing the best for each and every one from your heart. Yeah? So I think I will finish here. Did it make sense to describe the universal natural laws of existence, the gross material ones, the psychological ones, and the spiritual ones? There is a lawmaker, and the purpose of existence is to reawaken our loving relationship with. Actually, frankly speaking, once the love is there in your heart, all these laws and regulations, out the door. You don't care about them anymore. You're just automatically fulfilling them. Doesn't need an extra endeavor. You're just simply a good person, a good loving person towards God, towards Krishna, and toward all His living beings. Right? And the interesting thing is, you don't have to be alone in this school of life. As the super soul, Krishna resides in your heart. There is not only you in this machine, material energy, there's also the, we can call it a navigator. Every modern car has a navigator now, right? You tap in their destination, and then the navigator tells, okay, you go here, you go there, turn left, turn right, and then you will reach. So this is the function of the super soul. I want to be very famous, and then, okay, you want, yeah, sure. So you do this, do that, and then you struggle, and then, So if this is your karma, this is your rightful claim, you want to be a pop star, then Super Soul will tell you how to become a pop star. But if you want to join with Krishna, he becomes extra eager to guide you along that life. So this is called Chaitya Guru, the Guru in your heart, the spiritual master in your heart. There are different sources of help and assistance. There is the spiritual master, the Guru, who can give you initiation. Another spiritual master can give you good instruction that you can consult and ask questions. You can also learn from nature if you're a little clever. There's a whole section in one of our scriptures about one Brahmana who learned different things from different natural phenomena. But the goal is we give up personal ambition and selfishness, the sense of exploitation. I don't want to be your partner because how you can make me happy. I want to become your partner because how I can make you happy. That's the difference. It's not what's in it for me. Because you can do that with God because He's the tree, He's the root. When you water the root, everybody becomes happy and pleased, satisfied, right? So that's the path to real success in this world. It's not really what we think, that we just have to work hard really and fight ourselves and get rid of the competition and me, you know. Okay, you may get some little success that way, but it won't last. And at least at the moment of death, everything will be taken away like this. But in the Gita, it's explained, whatever small progress you make on this scale, it will be there waiting for you when you have to take your birth again. It's never lost. You may have so many cars, houses, beautiful husbands or wives, or, you know, bank balance. Everything is gone. Also the mobile phone. You don't like losing your mobile phone, right? It's pretty distressful. So at the moment of death, you will lose your mobile phone, plus everything else. So you have to be prepared. There's one thing you don't lose. That's our spiritual consciousness. Yeah? That's going to come with us because it's part of us. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, is there any comment or any question? You see how this wonderful philosophy has nothing to do with the material body. Anyone, child, old man, black, white, woman, man, this nationality, that political, it's for everybody. Who cares what kind of body you're driving around and navigating? Because you are the source of consciousness. You are the source of love. You are the source of care, of service. That's the spirit soul. We just use this body. We take care of it nicely, eating healthy, because it's a gift. It's actually a temple of God, because God rests in your heart as well. So we shouldn't abuse the body. We take care of it so we can use it very nicely to express love and care and affection for Supreme Personality Godhead and all His innumerable living beings. And that is the complete, total success of this lifetime. Maybe it even means you don't have to take your birth again. Because after all, getting born in this world is kind of, you know, if you get born the normal way, you get squeezed out of this channel, and it's so painful for the mother, I heard. And the kid is also very traumatized, and or even if it's cesarean, whatever it is. Then you grow up, you get sick, you get diseased, you know, break a leg or get terribly flu or something like that. And then some of us grow old and you have problem getting out of bed in the morning. Oh, my back hurts, and you know, and problems with this and that, you know, teeth falling out and like that. And then ultimately everybody's got to die, which is not so fun either. So these things comes with the territory. So maybe we would like to avoid that suffering. I mean, that's a good impetus as well. So if you're really serious about spiritual life, you may, even in this lifetime, develop pure love of God, and then you won't have to take another birth again in this world. We don't belong here, after all. Prabhupada said this place is not a place for a gentleman. It's a cutthroat society. So, okay, sir.
The attitude of these Ugra Karma demons is very nicely described in the 16th chapter of
Yes.
Bhagavad-gita. Asatyam apratistanti jagat ahuraniishwaram aparat parasambhutam kimanyat kamahitukam etam drishtim avastabhyat nashtadmanvalpa buddhayaha prabhavanti Ugra Karmanaha kshayaya jakatohita. So they say that this world is unreal, with no foundation, no God in control, and that is produced of sex desire, and has no cause other than lust.
Lust, yeah.
Following such conclusion, the demoniac who are lost to themselves and have no intelligence engage in horrible, unbeneficial works meant to destroy the world. But I would also say that in a way they are like the lowest in consciousness, but also they see themselves as an elite, and they have a lot of knowledge also that they don't share with the people in general, or on psychology, technology, and how to manipulate basically the world. So yeah,
One should watch out for these people and not be naive. problem is that many powerful corporations and institutions are actually run by these people today. So we should not be naive. But what can we do about it? We can only save ourselves first. Maybe you can be the light that you want to see in the world, right? Somebody said it was Gandhi, I'm not sure, but be the light you want to see in this world. So, are there any other comments or questions? Yes, sir.
You were talking about this give attitude instead of give and take. But I notice when sometimes I do something and there's some misbehavior towards me, something sparks inside of me. How do I understand if it's my ego, if it's a real thing like gas, spark, something like that?
Well, your feelings and emotions are real things, but you have to understand the difference that you don't really have anything to do with the body and not how others relate to your body either. It's like I go and scratch your car, of course you're going to get angry. Oh, you scratched my car like this. Or if I hit your car, you said, you hit me. No, I didn't hit you. It was my car hitting your car. So in one sense, all these other things, it's a temporary misery and temporary happiness in this world. And what Krishna says in the second chapter is that we're simply peaceful. We tolerate them. You tolerate material happiness. You tolerate material misery. And you're just a balanced person. And that will gradually make your spiritual satisfaction and bliss grow when you're not tossed between, boga chaga, accepting and rejecting like this. It's kind of natural that you feel a little, because we are not entirely pure devotees. We can feel insulted. Somebody behaves badly. Why are you looking at me like this? What did I do? Maybe he's just looking like that. What's the problem? So you have to kind of practice, be transcendental and tolerate the shifting of the modes in the material world. Also other people, especially if you get interested in spiritual things, this is not a place really where spiritual things are very much encouraged. This place you encourage, sex, drugs and rock and roll and have a good time, and this is party. This is the norm. So if you all of a sudden start detach yourself and realizing that this is not satisfying me, my spiritual me is not satisfied by this superficial connections or pleasures or what it is, then you're going to lose a lot of so-called friends. I did that. 90% of my friends never got back to me when I moved into the ashram when I was young, like 5 million years ago. But then a few stayed and we kept contact over the years. And so you have to be prepared that we are living like in a prison or an insane asylum, and there are very few doctors there. Most of us are patients, and we relate very strangely to one another. Like there's nothing to do with reality. So if you can just simply tolerate and, Stoics are interesting people. They may or may not have so much to do with God, but they know the art of relating to things without getting affected, If you have a so-called friend who didn't call you for a long time or invite you, there's no use of trying to intrude or cling. Then just let them go. You find other friends that would appreciate you. There's like 9 billion people on this planet. So if you lose 1 or 2 friends of those, there are plenty others who will want you for who you are, like that. So don't be afraid to move on in life. If you do a drastic change in your life, like getting more serious with your spiritual life, you will lose friends, so-called friends, which are not interested of joining you on that journey. So you can always benefit them in some way. Like we were talking, me and Emma, before, you can lead a horse to water, but you can never force it to drink. So by being a good person, being an attractive person, not some religious fanatic, but you can also open up for bringing people closer on this scale of consciousness, like this. So, I'm pretty much over time now, aren't I? Yeah. So, hope it was okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
enjoyed
think.
it.
I think you knew some of this thing already, but
Yeah.
so yeah, that's very good. So, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan Sri Krishna ki jai. Spiritual knowledge ki jai. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Okay.
It's a pleasure to have always wonderful compliment here from you.